He used to believe that surgeons were gods in white coats. In the operating room, surrounded by the sterile glow of lights and the rhythmic beeping of machines, he felt invincible. Each incision, each stitch, each decision carried lives on its edge, and for years he balanced them with confidence. Patients thanked him for saving their loved ones. Colleagues admired his skill. His name appeared in journals, his lectures drew crowds. He was not just a doctor, he was a symbol of precision, control, and success. But even gods bleed. It was supposed to be routine. A middle-aged patient, a common procedure, nothing beyond his experience. He had done it countless times before. But that day, fatigue weighed on his hands. Weeks of endless hours, little sleep, too many cases, too much pride to say no. In the middle of the operation, a slip occurred. A vital artery was nicked. The room filled with urgency, alarms, voices raised. He fought to repair the damage, but the patient's body gave way. Within minutes, life slipped beyond his reach. The death was unexpected, devastating. But worse came after. An investigation revealed that he had been overworked, that warnings about his exhaustion had been ignored, that shortcuts in preparation contributed. The media pounced. Headlines did not mention fatigue or systemic failures. They named him the surgeon who killed. The medical board suspended his license. Colleagues distanced themselves. Lawsuits piled on. He was labeled reckless, negligent. His once proud name became a cautionary tale whispered in hospital corridors. For the first time in his life, he had no scrubs to wear, no patients to see, no reason to wake with purpose. Depression followed like a shadow. He isolated himself, drowning in guilt and shame. He replayed the surgery every night, each time imagining a different move, a different decision, a different outcome. But the past would not change. He numbed himself with alcohol, drifting between dark apartments and darker thoughts. Some days he wished he had been the one on the table. Years passed in silence, but silence is rarely permanent. One day, walking near a community center, he saw a line of people waiting outside a free clinic. Families, children, elderly, faces lined with need. He stood, watching volunteers in mismatched coats try to keep up. A voice inside him, long buried, stirred. He stepped closer. Someone recognized him, though hesitantly. "You're the doctor, aren't you? The one who—" The sentence trailed off, but the eyes that looked at him were not accusing. They were pleading. They needed help. For the first time in years, he said yes. He began as an assistant, not a surgeon, taking blood pressure, cleaning wounds, handing out basic medicines. Slowly, he relearned what it meant to serve. The clinic director encouraged him to fight for his license. At first, he resisted. He feared rejection, ridicule, the weight of his past. But the director insisted, "You are still a doctor, don't bury that." So he tried. He attended hearings, endured scrutiny, presented evidence of rehabilitation. He admitted his failures, his arrogance, his mistakes. He did not beg for forgiveness. He promised to do better. After years of appeals, the board returned his license. He was free to practice again, but he no longer wanted the prestige of shining hospitals. He chose the clinic instead. There, his skills mattered in new ways. He treated coughs, stitched cuts, managed chronic illnesses for people who could not afford specialists. He became known not as the surgeon who fell, but as the doctor who stayed. Patients lined up for hours because they trusted not just his knowledge but his humility. He spoke in schools, warning young doctors of pride and exhaustion. He taught them that being a physician is not about being flawless, but about being present, accountable, human. He told his story not to erase the past, but to transform it into caution and courage. In time, his reputation shifted. He would never erase the death, never undo the pain caused, never reclaim the accolades of his former life. But he gained something else: authenticity. Patients saw in him not a god in a white coat, but a man who had fallen and risen again. Every morning, as he unlocked the clinic, he touched the stethoscope around his neck and whispered a silent vow. Never again would pride silence the truth of his limits. Never again would ambition drown out compassion. The doctor who once stood at the top of his field found his second chance not in fame but in service, not in surgical triumphs, but in human connection. He came back, not as who he was, but as who he was meant to be.